A watch clock never ticks.
There you go.
Okay, it's 6:30. Time for us to start. Welcome, everyone. This is the City of Fairway, Kansas. It is Monday, February 9th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. This is our monthly City Council meeting. I'd like to call it to order. I have no announcements. Nathan, do you? Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is our Johnson County Commissioner, Becky Fast. She's going to share some thoughts with us?
Yes, okay, I was like, see if I can get the, okay. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate having time on your agenda. I know you have a lot of business and many things to discuss, so I appreciate these minutes with you to give you a county update. Johnson County really prides itself on its strong relationships with its cities. I believe our county is thriving because that we have that strong collaboration with our local cities. So my district is 107,000. Johnson County, in fact, there's only across the U.S. 100 counties our size or larger. So the majority of the counties in our country are smaller than Johnson County. In Kansas, the majority of counties are smaller than the city of Merriam. So we're a very large county in Kansas. So right now, county commissioners were elected on the November ballot, where you're in even years, you're elected on odd years. And Johnson County are not nonpartisan elections. Across the state, county commissioners are elected on a partisan ballot. So that's something unique that the voters voted on about 20, 30 years ago. So county government is different than city government. We are the administrative arm for the state of Kansas, where you don't manage and operate programs for the state of Kansas. So we are, in many ways, we're funded not appropriately. They mandate 18 services from us, but often they don't mandate what it costs to provide these services in a large growing county. One area of concern is the DMV. When you go there, you will often have to have a wait time. We encourage you to register online your time. So the amount of money that we get from the state of Kansas hasn't reached the amount of need that we have in our county. So we have a bill, we're working with Sedgwick County this year. So basically we have to supplement it by over $2 million, and then the state of Kansas takes the majority of fees. So we supplement it and they take the fees that you pay on those driver's license tag. Another area is appraiser's office. Everybody thinks, that Johnson County, often is the blame for the appraiser's office, but we're really the local administrative entity for the state of Kansas with the appraiser's office. In fact, the state evaluates our county appraiser and to see that his appraisals are in the 90% tile for market in a city and a neighborhood. So state revenue, many property taxes, and I know you hear from many residents, their concerns. I hear because we send out the bills, so people think that I'm in charge of everything on their bill. 60% of your property taxes go to your local schools. The county is like 20%. But one of the things I wanted to highlight is how the residential burden has shifted over the last decades. The state, through state laws, has reshuffled the burden over to residential homeowners. It's like a balloon. When you squeeze the balloon, when you get more and more exemptions in personal property taxes, you reduce the appraised assessment for commercial, that moves to the residential. So you can see from, back in the day, residents paid 47% of property taxes, and now residents are up to 70%. The state gave exemptions to boats, they gave exemptions, that last year they were talking about airplanes. Amazon Warehouse has full exemptions on all the equipment, which a number of years ago they would have paid personal property taxes on all the machinery and equipment. Also, cities like Fairway, Johnson County, we used to get city-county revenue sharing. We don't get that anymore. There used to be a mortgage registration tax. When you bought a house, you maybe paid $50. But it was a sizable allocation, especially for our historical sites. Shawnee Indian Mission used to receive some of that funds from that mortgage registration tax. And so now, as you know, they're having to have tree sales because we no longer have that mortgage registration tax. It was a huge funder of all our historical sites in the county and was just gone when they removed that. So Johnson County has a property tax relief program that Please Share. We just increased it to $500,000. The state of Kansas has 3 property tax relief programs, rebate programs for seniors, people who are veterans. The appraised value on their programs are $350,000 because most of Kansas, $350,000 meets the appraised value. Senator Corson had a bill to raise it to $500,000, which got a lot of support. I see that appraised value hopefully will go through this year. We're working on a portal so that when people apply for our program, they can also see any city programs and then the state program, so it's more of a one-stop for our older residents. I know that our stormwater and CARS program is very important to the city of Fairway. We are actually the only county in Kansas that has this program. None of the other counties share sales tax with the local cities or their gas tax. Johnson County it was probably about 20 years ago, saw it was really important. If Fairway didn't maintain their roads, it impacted other cities and impacted the county as whole. And we have so many streamways in this county and really high risk of flooding in our county. And this was a way to help the cities and work together with the county on stormwater and flood prevention. So thank you to Mayor Hepperly who attended my inaugural. I brought together people for the inaugural Johnson County Water Summit. Water I see is one of the most critical environmental issues in the state of Kansas. And we're not impacted as much in Johnson County, but we will be. We rely on the Missouri River and the Kansas River for water, and increasingly with data centers pulling out that water, more development in this metro area. So water is a crucial area for all of us to preserve. And in an area that the county promotes and you participate is in Contain the Rain, and we thank you for that. That's a way to preserve our water sources. Also, our Johnson County wastewater has, so if anybody talks to you about a backup with their sewer, please have them call Johnson County Wastewater. We have a backup preventer program. We also have a program in these older homes, the stormwater and the sewer pipes connect. So that stormwater then overflows into the sewer system, and then our county is treating all that overflow stormwater. And with a lot of the pipes, when they connect, it also means sewer backup for them, or their pipes will break. And so Johnson County, our Johnson County Wastewater Department will come in and do an assessment of your house for those of us in the Northeast, because we have so many homes that have those pipes in their house connect to the sewer pipe. And they'll even pay for a sump pump if it's needed. So please get that word out. It's called our Johnson County Inflow Program. So 2 programs that we really want to promote because we save money in the long run by not treating all that stormwater. The Corinth Library, I know many Fairway residents use the Corinth Library. So this year, design is started. We had worked with City of Prairie Village in order to have, they were looking at the YWCA to have a partnership with the library, but that didn't go through. The Y has now sold their building. So right now, the Corinth Library is still looking for locations, but they haven't really found any in the Northeast. So it's most likely going to stay in the same site. But now it's faced east, and they're looking at turning it so it will face north, so you can just drive through and drop off your book. So that's one of the concepts that they've looked at. So design will start now, and then probably it will be a 2-year, 3-year process. There will be time where there is no library, or they'll have to move it somewhere, kind of a temporary location. So Johnson County, as a county commission, our priority has been housing. Housing is a huge issue in our county. And one of the reasons why our appraised values are so high is that we lack housing supply. And very limited housing supply across our county, very competitive to buy a house, very competitive to rent an apartment in this county. Apartment complexes fill up very quickly. So we've funded, we've worked on the housing continuum, working with Habitat for Humanity, and that just opened in Olathe, and it's been really, inspiring to me to hear families to have, first time, the first person in their family to own a house. One woman was homeless and she worked full time, but she was a retail person. And so for her and her children to own a house, and with Habitat, they learn home buyer skills, they learn home fix-it skills. So, I would have loved it when I bought a house to have all that support when you're a first-time homeowner. A program that I've worked on with the county is our new home preservation program. So if you have homeowners very concerned about their property taxes, this program will help them with home repairs. It's for more lower income. So the federal program that we receive funds, it only goes up to the appraised value of $300,000, and there's very few homes in the Northeast that are $300,000 and below, and this program goes above $300,000. And we're using COVID funds to do this. So a program that I'm very proud of is our new eviction mediation program. Kansas has a very strict eviction law. So if you receive notice on the first day of the month, you get eviction notice 3 days later, and you're out by the end of the month. Most states, you get a little more time. This program now, our judge brings together both parties. A lot of the people don't stay in their house, but that it gives them a time so the sheriff doesn't show up with a warrant, and they can find support services. What's been interesting to me with this program is how many of these individuals, they're in eviction because of medical issues, because they're in the Medicaid expansion gap. If we would have Medicaid expansion, they wouldn't be in eviction. So 700 families have been prevented from homelessness. I went and helped one day, and it was a man who was a truck driver, broke his leg, just needed a month. He had no health insurance, he had no savings, and by this program with the mediation, he was able then to not lose his housing and then get back to work. So we have a new senior health insurance counseling program. Johnson County didn't have this. Many of the counties across the state had it. The state of Kansas provides grants. This is through our area agency on aging. I know because I'm in my early 60s and I get so many calls, people trying to sell me Medicare products. And this is really a great program for your residents to sit down and have a non-biased person who's not trying to sell you Medicare products, and they can help you look at your Medicare Part D, your A, your B, and really help you weigh the options. So I don't know if you have a newsletter, but please promote this because it's, and it's all income levels that people can look at what's the best Medicare option for them. So our mental health services, we work closely with your chief of police. I'm very proud that Kansas implemented a 988, and in Johnson County we have If you have someone in a mental health crisis, when they call 911, our mental health staff is right there. They transition the call right to that mental health staff. So previously, the police, fire, ambulance would be on that person's front yard. You know, if you're having suicidal ideation, that is very anxiety producing when you have all these first responders on your front yard. So now working too with your police, with the mental health co-responders, but we also have responders and through the 988. And we started then a year ago a youth crisis stabilization center. So if your Fairway Police picks up a youth, previously they would go take them to the intake center and there was nowhere to go. If they were having a mental health breakdown, they would have to bring them back home. Now we have this youth stabilization, would give the family maybe a respite, give the child some support, the youth, not a child. And so very excited that we have this. And they're talking about this is needed statewide in the legislature. So FIFA, I can't believe we're how many months away. And very exciting. I don't know if you read about England. It's going to be right here in Prairie Village, one of the top teams in the nation at the Meadowbrook Park. And so we've been working on our transit plan. And so Johnson County's transit plan is called JOCO United. And so we will have an airport. It's not a drop and park, it's a drop and ride. So there will be airport between Lenexa, Overland Park Convention Center, and KCI. And Mission will have a bus to the Fan Fest, and from Fan Fest you can get to Arrowhead if you're lucky enough to have tickets. But we also then just approved with 7 cities that you can take a circulator, small bus route around Johnson County. So there's 14 stops, Mission and Leawood, Overland Park. These cities are participating who have the stops, and it's free. So you can get on and see Northeast, and then you go to Oak Park Mall, and then you could see Lenexa. So there's kind of 14 stops, and there's 4 circles that you can get on. And we're hoping not only that tourists use this in Sierra County, but we're hoping that residents see that transit works and they connect to our fixed lines and they feel more confident about our public transit in the county. Now there you see the 3 routes that intersect. So they'll be both clockwise, counterclockwise. They're small passenger buses. So I'm excited, see Johnson County this summer and meet someone from Argentina, England when you're on the bus. And so this is really exciting partnership. And it will be on a app. So if you wonder, how do I figure out where the stops are, there will be a FIFA app and there will be a Johnson County United Link app that you can get on. And so Johnson County Parks, we're very proud. Meadowbrook is like the 2nd most visited park in the county, 900,000. Antioch is the 3rd most visited park. But if you haven't been out to Kill Creek, that observation tower is just beautiful. You can see for miles. Cedar Creek is an incredible park. You see just a lot of wildlife. And I know it's easiest in the Northeast. We don't get way out past 435, much less past 95, I should say. But really encourage you to visit some of our great county parks. And that is it. I'm open to your thoughts or questions.
Any questions for Becky?
Becky, is the transportation going to be 24 hours?
Oh, I think it's 12. I don't think it's 24 hour.
The bars will be open all night.
Yeah,
so
that's true. It could be. Maybe. That's a good question. I need to. Drivers are really hard to get, and we're. Yeah. And so we're like bringing in drivers from across the country, and they'll stay at Mid-America Nazarene dorms because it's so hard to find drivers.
Yeah, Jerry.
Jerry Williams, Ward 2. I didn't hear anything about the homeless shelter that was turned down in Lenexa last year. What's the status of that?
Yeah, so, we worked for 2 years just to even find a hotel willing to work with the county. And that owner, after, it was public, there was a lot of pressure on that owner to withdraw working with us. And then, as you know, Lenexa didn't approve it. So, I mean, we haven't really, that is one of our priorities. 1020 had over 50 people a night during some of our colds, so we allocated some hotel vouchers to help them, and I made a call at our meeting that churches should help match it, and the Church of the Resurrection did match it. And I'm making a call that all of us, if we give $100, that's one hotel night for someone. So that's a Band-Aid, not a long-term solution. We allocated COVID funds to the Salvation Army, and they're working to expand their family shelter, so there is family shelter. One of our issues is Wyandotte County doesn't even have a homeless shelter. So, and Douglas County has really put a lot of resources. So it is something that, and that was when I brought forth the eviction mediation program. What can we do to prevent before an individual or family becomes homeless? So yeah, it's something, it's an ongoing need that we need to continue to work on with our cities.
Commissioner, thank you for your comprehensive report. We look forward to it every year. One quick question. Can you comment on the public safety sales tax?
Yeah, so Chris Kobach, filed, wasn't a lawsuit on us, but he gave an opinion that says that we could only use public safety sales tax for our sheriff's office, because so our ambulances are really understaffed with the growth. So we had included our ambulances, our 911, in Kansas City, Missouri. Quentin Lucas even said he was put on hold when he was calling for his mother. The 911 system regionally is really short-staffed, but we pride ourselves in a few seconds that you get someone to answer. So on that, then we went to court, and then the courts ruled in Kobach's favor that the state law is very narrowly defined in public safety. Our goal is on that to go to the legislature to broaden the public safety definition. We didn't agree, and other lawyers said that judge wasn't right and that Kobach's not right. But so we need to get that statute clarified, that public safety is more than just supporting, a jail and a courthouse. So yeah, right now, nothing is happening on that. We have had some conversations of maybe a healthcare tax to help our ambulances and first responder system, but there's been no movement.
Becky, the city what's the word I want? We rely heavily on that public safety sales tax. So if you limit it just to healthcare, that's detrimental. I can't speak for the other cities, but it's detrimental for Fairway. So, Nathan?
Sure, Mayor, just to clarify, the county's, the revenue that the county gets has restrictions. The city's share that is distributed out to the cities does not have any restrictions.
We don't have the same restrictions.
So we do not. So what they've been using for the last decade to pay for the courthouse has been that our portion just goes into our general fund.
Okay.
Now, what we did was in our intent was with the renewal of the sales tax, we established the public safety facility fund.
Right.
And we're transferring the money into that to pay for the future police station needs. So we've dedicated that money to a public safety cause, but historically it's just gone into our general fund. So unless they would be tweaking the legislation so that cities would also have to use it for public safety or sheriff's office. Obviously, we don't have a sheriff's office. So if it were to be, I can't imagine the county would go in and tweak the way the cities can utilize the funds, but it would just be to broaden the county's ability to use the funds on different services.
Okay.
That the
So the
statute
argument
provides.
that the county is having with Chris Kobach is over there.
Yeah.
Is over the portion that the
theirs.
county retains, yeah.
Okay.
And then they have to, by statute, They have to share based on population with the cities.
Okay. But it has to go up for a vote before it expires, right?
Well, I mean, I think part of the argument was that the county saw this as a renewal, and Chris Kobach was saying it wasn't a renewal, it was a new tax. So
Okay.
the county
Okay.
could come back at any time, and conceivably, if the legislation has changed, the county could come back at a later time with a new proposed sales tax to meet the purposes of whatever legislation changes occur in Topeka. Theoretically, and sometimes, the legislature will bring in other topics when they're not asked to on certain legislation.
Yes.
But assuming that the city portion remains unaffected, we would receive our distribution and it would go into our general fund, and then the city determines how to use it.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, it's interesting. Kobach didn't have any issues with the cities, but it was.
Just the county.
Yeah, just the county.
Okay. Anyone else?
Kelly Busick, Ward 1.
Yes, Kelly, go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation, Commissioner Fast. It really was wonderful. Is it possible if you could distribute that to Nathan and he can send it to us in our email? Because it would be great information to have on hand in case we get any questions from any citizens in our ward. Is that possible?
Oh, yeah, you have it.
Could you send it to us, please? Thank you so much, and thank you very much. It was wonderful. Thank you.
You bet.
Jerry, go ahead.
One last question. Any updates on the whole Kansas City Stadium and Star Bonds and the impact on Johnson County?
Well, so, I mean, I heard from a lot of residents about the Royal Stadium from Leawood, but they've announced that they're not looking at that anymore in Overland Park. I mean, so we don't really, at the county, have a say on the chiefs. I mean, Olathe, Shawnee, and Lenexa have a say what they want to give up part of their local tax. So that doesn't impact our county tax. But I know a lot of residents that live in Leawood are happy, and others wanted it, so it was mixed.
Anyone else?
And I'm heading to Merriam's, otherwise I would stay. Everybody has
Okay.
their meetings on Monday night.
Thank you, Becky. Appreciate your time. Next on the agenda, this is Black History Month, and I'd like to read a proclamation into the record. Whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas Black History Month evolved out of the establishment in 1926 of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas the City of Fairway continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. And whereas the City of Fairway will join with the nation in celebrating National Black History Month by honoring the essential contributions, sacrifices, and accomplishments of African Americans in our community, throughout our state and our nation as part of American history. Now, therefore, in recognition of African Americans past and present in our community, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, Kansas, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in the City of Fairway, Kansas, and call this observance to the attention of all of our residents. Dated this 9th day of February 2026. You're welcome. Okay, we'll move on to the monthly reports of the standing committees. Consolidated Fire District to number 2, no report, as his report is made to us quarterly. Administration and Finance, Nathan?
Thank you, Mayor. We did not meet as the Administration and Finance Committee in December. I'm sorry, we did meet on the 1st, but nothing administrative was discussed. The mayor did find a mathematical error in our calculations for the rental and non-owner occupied dwelling registrations. We stand at 188, currently not 189. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions regarding administration.
Any questions for Nathan? Thank you. Police, Chief?
Mayor, do you want to do finance?
Oh, please.
Okay, just a quick note, on the dais this evening, you had a copy of the January financials, and in the packet that was posted online, our financials, the year-to-date, and the actuals for January were correct. The budget was actually still the 2025 budget numbers. So our Miller management sent us a revised financial statements for January, and so what you have before you shows the 2026 budget in the financials, and of course, that'll be there going forward. So I just wanted to point that out. I will also mention that our sales tax distribution for January, which would have been collected by retailers in November, was well above what we had budgeted for 2026. And remind you, we did increase our sales tax revenue projections for 2026. We were budgeting an average of $215,000, and the distribution for January was just about $240,000. And again, that's for November. November, December, and January are going to be higher sales tax distribution months because more money is spent during those months. So while I'm optimistic we will be on budget for sales tax, I don't want anybody to get too excited and think we're going to see a big windfall in 2026, because we start out the year getting the revenues from the end of last year, and belts don't tighten until after, well, typically I would say after yesterday, but since yesterday didn't really matter for a lot of folks here in Kansas City, it probably started a little bit sooner. The other thing I will mention is, as we move forward with Hen House's closure for 2 weeks, they, without any consultation to us, did us a favor by splitting their closure over 2 months. So we'll only have lost a week's worth of sales tax revenue in January and in February, as opposed to it all being in 1 month. So distribution-wise, it will look a little bit less painful probably as we see that come in. It sounds like the renovations are well received. Yeah.
Jim, would you, I recognize Jim?
Hi. Any update on Houlihan's? Might get one.
No, I don't have anything beyond what we put out.
Any other questions for Nathan? Okay, Chief, now you're up.
Okay. I'm going to do a really quick overview of my report and then talk about some events that we've had. And then I've kind of started a new thing where I like to show a picture with my report. So we'll cue that up here when I get to it. Some of the notable things from January were, we did have a series of auto burglaries. It was all one chain of events where suspects came into the city and attempted to break into cars, and in doing so, they broke windows. They did take some property out of a vehicle, but it was all one event, even though it's listed in the report as multiple incidents. It was the same suspects were the ones doing that over the same time frame. It wasn't days later or anything like that. I just want to note that.
Chief, be sure you talk into your mic.
Okay.
That's better.
Oh. Is this better? I feel like
Yes.
it's in my. Oh, okay. There was an auto theft, and that auto theft stemmed from an outside agency was taking an individual into custody, and he got away from them and ran. In doing so, he ran into Fairway. He was in Fairway when they stopped him, and he was running like through the creek and through the neighborhoods, and he ended up stealing one of our residents' cars. Fairway officers tracked that vehicle and worked with Kansas City, Missouri to get that individual taken into custody while he was still operating that vehicle. So after he took that, after he took the vehicle, Fairway officers worked seamlessly with Kansas City, Missouri. They were able to locate that suspect driving that car and take him into custody. So that was a really good effort on our part and Kansas City, Missouri's. A resident was scammed out of some money. Obviously, I want to just mention that if you or any of the residents ask, we're happy to talk to people about scams. Law enforcement doesn't typically call and say that you have a warrant, we want your money right now. We're happy to vet that for anybody that has any questions on that. Lastly, as far as the events referenced in the report, is we did have a narcotics, some drugs. What you're looking at is that photo, and then there's another one as well. And what you're going to be looking at is about 100 grams of methamphetamine and a substantial amount of money. That was taken off of a car stop by our officers. That was just traveling down Shawnee Mission Parkway. We have charges against them. All right. A couple other things to note. Last month, we began fielding our tasers. Our new tasers have come in, and we're getting those fielded with training. And they'll be out shortly after all the officers are trained up. Captain Bayless started Northeast Leadership this year, so she's attending the Northeast Leadership classes. There was also a forgery ring that I talked about a month or so ago. We've been able to work those cases enough to issue warrants, and those individuals were traveling across the country, so it's a national ring that we've been able to work and issue warrants on, so that's a win as well. And then lastly, what I'll mention is the city administrator, Parks and Rec director, and myself attended a electronic bike and scooter safety meeting involving the county. It was put on by Health and Environment. That meeting was basically, it was Johnson County agencies, and they were basically talking about what they're going to do in reference to scooter ordinances and laws. And I was very proud that we sat through that meeting and answered a lot of questions for the rest of the county because of the level of action that we've already taken on that. And I think that we were an example for the rest of the county. So we'll see if they follow suit. But as of right now, we are issuing warnings. Just did that last week, or earlier this week, I guess. No, last week. I apologize. When it was nice out, there were some people on scooters, and I got to personally write a warning ticket or 2 or 3 to some residents. And it turns out that one of the kids, I'm friends with their family, and he had been warned not to do that, and he got his first warning ticket. And I think that those tickets are going to be well received by the community. Very startling at first to get a phone call from the police, as a follow-up to that warning, but parents seem to clearly understand what we've done in order to keep the streets safe and their children safe. So thank you. That's all I have.
Chief, that's good to hear, because we don't, as council people, don't very often hear the response of what you go through with the public and how they react to the ordinances that we pass. And that was a very emotional one. And as you know, we work very hard on that, so thank you for sharing that
You're welcome.
on these scooters and e-bikes. Any questions for the chief? Yes, Jim.
Name?
You can or cannot.
This is Jim Hafner, Ward 3. Do you work with any of the HOAs regarding the scooter issue?
Well, I mean, I've had communication with them. We haven't gone out and attended the meetings in reference to that. That's mainly been done through the schools and just our city educational push with the newsletters and constant contacts.
When I tried at the meeting to just encourage the HOA to put out information, it was they thought it was political, and I thought, well, not really, it's community safety, but anyways. And I noticed another thing, there were like 200 stops, car stops last month. Is that all on Shawnee Mission?
No, that's within the whole city.
Really? Okay. busy people.
We are busy.
Lee?
Lee Story, Ward 1. Chief, can you just expand for me a little bit on the warning process? The kids are riding the scooters. Does the warning go to the kid? Is there a mechanism?
Yeah, I actually brought an example of it. It looks like this. It's just 2 copies. I call it more of a softer ticket. It's not like getting a ticket while you're operating a car. It basically just goes over the location, the name of the child, address, and then who the guardian is, the type of violation and the type of scooter or e-bike that the child was on. And it basically advises the parent that we're going to be following up and that we'll talk to them in reference to this warning. It clearly says warning on the top, and so they expect a phone call from us, or they'll call in.
So does it go to the parent, or is it up to the kid?
It goes to the child initially, but because we have the information that we gathered from the child, we follow up.
You'll know whether it ultimately makes its way to the
That's
parental destination or not.
Right, and the ones that yes, and the ones that we wrote, there were no surprises.
Yeah.
They were like, we were waiting for your call.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Well, so far so good, it sounds like. That's great.
Anyone else? Okay. Bill, Public Works?
Thank you, Mayor. It's not very often we get violent temperature swings in January like we did, that we are allowed to sweep the entire city and plow the entire city. So January was one for the record books, a detailed list of when the streets were swept. There wasn't much out, so it only took him about a week to get through. But in there also is the snowstorm we had over the last weekend in January. That storm was particularly difficult for a number of reasons. One, duration-wise, it snowed for about 36 hours straight. Number two, the extreme low temperatures, as I detailed in my email, salt starts losing its effectiveness, the colder it gets, and we were like right at 0 at some of those times. But staff is always, and Mother Nature being as friendly as she is, doing it on a weekend whenever they're scheduled to be off is always fun as well. But staff has always did a fantastic job cleaning all the streets. They plowed everything, they salted everything. Thankfully, the sun came out and really helped us out quite a bit, but they kept with it on Monday and Tuesday and plowed where some cars had been parked. But all in all, I think they did a really, really, really good job considering the circumstances, and especially when you compare us to our neighboring cities. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Bill? Please pass along to your staff our thank you.
Will do.
Parks and Rec, Bryce?
Thanks, Mayor. I'll let my report stand as submitted. I do have a couple other items I need to mention as well. As we are getting the pool ready for the upcoming season, we had the pump serviced, and we are to a point now where to replace it will be more efficient than what it would be to repair it. And additionally, if we were to repair it, the style of pump that we have is going out of production. And so getting parts in the near future, if it does break down, will be pretty hard to come by and probably pretty expensive. So we will be looking at pursuing purchasing a new pump before the pool season, hopefully any time here. But it's within Nathan's authority to approve the dollar amount. So
Did it give us a long life?
it did. It's been 2014, I think. Oh, 2011. Yeah. So it's been
Got our
been a
money's
minute.
worth.
Yeah. Additionally, the audiovisual in the multipurpose room next to us that we use for rentals all the time on the weekends, it's to the point now where it's not working consistently with the audio and the visual too. When we have movie parties, the audio will cut out sometimes, or the actual movie will cut out, and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get that rebooted and going and everything. And when we have 7 parties stacked back to back to back, that really puts a pretty big weight on our rental facilitators to do a song and dance while everybody's waiting. So we are going to pursue separating that from the system that we're currently using in here. All the brains are back there, but we're going to try to separate the system so it's just the rentals. And also we can use this hopefully new system to be able to have classes back there. We're going to have more fitness classes here going forward this summer, and where instructors would be able to use a headset to be able to instruct or scream at people to get them to jump around a little bit more. And then also, like with rainy day books or whomever, when they do their presentations back there, it'll be a little bit more convenient for them to be able to do that without the technical issues that we've run into. So I wanted to mention those two things, and those are both things that Nathan has the authority to approve, but would then report to you guys at the next council meeting once we have those picked out.
Just to speak to the useful life, some of the equipment, a majority of our equipment back there was replaced with some CLRF money from the first round of federal money from COVID, but much of our AV system was brought with us from the other building down at 4210, including like the microphones that we're all talking on tonight are all from 2008. So the system has gotten a lot of useful life. Obviously, when we moved, when we replaced a majority of the AV system, we still had several components that were original from 2008 that we moved here with us when we came in, and we're still using those today, as evidenced by the need for us to go in and reboot things every once in a while before meetings to make sure they still work. So it is one of those things where, you know, Bryce and I talked about the equipment back there for the rentals, and just from the movie rentals alone that we do back there, he's projecting that we will recover all the money we spend within the next 3 years.
Great.
So through the rentals, so it will pay for itself and then some as we get further beyond.
Great.
And that would just be the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not everything else that goes on back there.
Bryce, I wanted to comment, thank you for including the written report from Jennifer from the mission. I think that's very, very helpful.
Yes, for
And,
sure. And that'll be going forward. as
Yeah,
well.
and she's expanding the programs, and we're bringing more and more indigenous people into those programs and helping Jennifer. So we're slowly inching along to reach our goal of including all 22 tribes. That's going to take a while, but we've made progress. So thank you for including that. I hope you'll continue to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any questions for Bryce? Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, monthly reports of special committees, tree board.
No report.
Okay. Next is public comment for consent agenda items only. I will read those items into the record before asking for public comment. A is approved minutes of the previous regular and special city council meetings. B, approved claims and appropriations, ordinance number 1841, January 2026. C is approved yoga instructor agreement. D, approve interlocal agreement with Johnson County, Kansas for 2026 stormwater project. And E is approve mayoral appointments. And that's it. Any one in the audience or online who would like to comment on any of these consent agenda items? Nope. Okay, council, these items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration and a separate motion. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, D, and E.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve consent agenda items A through E. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. We do not have any new business items. So we will go on to item 10, governing body comment. I have one comment. If you have not been to the hen house and seen the refresh that they've done, please go. It's outstanding. They did a really, really great job. It's reopened Saturday. They were closed for 2 weeks. They were right on schedule. And I didn't think about 1 week and 1 month and one in another. That, yes, helps cash flow. So go by and look at the hen house. We had rumors flying all around the city that hen house was closing and leaving Fairway. And the Ball family assured us, and staff met with them, and they said, no, 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 this is just a refresh. So go and take a look at it. It's just Fairway. I don't know how else to describe it. And I think you'll find that they've done a great job. Yes, Jim?
Yeah. May I make a comment?
Yes.
Along that same line, for those that did the sneak and peek Thursday night, would it be nice to send a little letter of thank you and how great it is, and we hope
Oh, I've already told them thank you. It was verbal.
Well, I did too, but I
Yeah.
mean, officially from the council? Leadership? Or-
We could. We don't.
Just a
We
thought.
don't normally do that,
Oh, okay, well,
but
I'm not normal.
I think, I think it would be more appropriate for the council people to talk to the store manager personally,
Oh,
is
okay.
what I would recommend
Okay.
when you go in. Seek him out, and I think that would be great. Any other governing body comments? Yes, Jim?
Another quickie. With the Fieldston, I think they're going to be fairly full around maybe March or April or so. Would it be a good idea to maybe?
No, I don't think so.
You don't? Okay. Well,
No. Where did you get that? Who told you
I
that?
just, well, I got a friend that moved into there, and I just was curious, would it be a good idea maybe to schedule sometime down the road a meet and greet with
Well,
the
that was,
people over there? And get
that
them?
was what the ribbon cutting was for.
Did I miss that?
No, the Fieldston is currently leased at about 50%. It is 35% occupied. And so they're not, which is excellent in, where we are, 4 months. They opened on time in October. October 8th was when the first residents moved in, so we're about 4 months down the road. So that's astonishing to be at 50%. But we're a ways from them being full. So you can go introduce yourself to the leasing agent. Anyone else? Yes, Jerry?
On that note with the Philston, I think Emily kind of raised the idea for she and I, as Ward 2 residents, Ward 2 representatives, to go over and introduce ourselves and start meeting with the folks over there. So we'll be headed over there soon.
Well, and I
Jim?
think, Chief, aren't you scheduled to go over there sometime soon?
I have been over there a lot. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've been over there. The officers have all gone through there numerous times. We actually just met with residents there last week. I'll mention that at the next meeting, but it was a great meeting. We had really, really positive results from that. They were happy to have us, and they've always been just very, very welcoming to us and to Fairway as a whole. So we know the ins and outs of that building, and we have access to that building, and the cooperation level hopefully will remain the same, and I couldn't be happier with management.
And the mayor's been meeting with them since 2021, when we first started this project, and all through the construction and making them feel welcome. So we're not ignoring them.
Oh, no, I'm just thinking, help encourage them to go shop at the hen house and that sort of thing.
You're welcome to do that, Jen. Anything else? Okay, we'll close governing body comment. Now we'll open for public comment for items not listed on the agenda. If anyone has anything that they'd like to comment on, yes, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and I believe it's still on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Jim Huntington. I live on Glenfield Drive. I'm a neighbor of Councilman Hafner, and I'll try to be very succinct. I just have a question. With the upcoming World Cup, which is going to be very exciting and an economic boon, does Fairway have covenants that prohibit short-term rental of single-family dwellings? I see a nod.
We spent a lot, we've always had short-term rentals, and we spent in the city. That's nothing new. We spent, oh gosh, Nathan, I don't know how long, tweaking those, knowing what's coming, and we made some, I would say, significant changes. Nathan, do you want to share what those are?
Sure. So we do have limitations on where short-term rentals can be. We currently have just over a dozen throughout the city. Most of them are in Ward 4, but every ward is touched by short-term rentals. We have some of the strictest, for the cities that allow them, period. We have probably by far the most strict guidelines and requirements for short-term rentals. They cannot be within 1,000 feet of each other. And so there are some that have been grandfathered in before we enacted the tougher guidelines. But for example, they have to be at least 1,000 feet away from each other. We cap it at 2 people per bedroom plus 1. So if it's a 3-bedroom rental, you can have 7 people. The max at any Airbnb is 8. And we don't allow any sort of guests or events, parties. All of that is strictly prohibited. We also require that at all short-term rentals, there is no on-street parking permitted. So all vehicles have to be legally parked in the driveway in order to operate the Airbnb. So we do regularly. In fact, I will say right now, our assistant city clerk probably goes through 2 to 3 times a week at the various short-term rental platforms that are out there to ensure compliance. And we have had, over the years, we have had some issues. One of them we revoked a permit or a license for. But generally speaking, after we've enacted the most recent round of restrictions, the residents around the Airbnbs have been thankful that these restrictions are in place.
Okay, I just want some clarification. My question remains, can a resident rent a single-family dwelling to folks coming in for the World Cup?
So they would have to obtain a license from the city to do so. And if they live within the 1,000-foot buffer of another rental property, it's an automatic denial of their application. So anybody who is interested, and I'll tell you, we actually have on our website, we have a map of the buffer, and it's super simple to show you. So this is updated regularly as we get new licenses. So anywhere within the red circles, there's already an existing Airbnb within 1,000 feet. So you can see there is not a lot of potential for additional Airbnbs within the city of Fairway. And some of those that predate this new ordinance where they're closer together than 1,000 square feet, they will not be able to if the property changes hands or use, the licenses are not transferable. So we will lose some of the Airbnbs in Ward 4 as attrition occurs because they won't be able to renew their license.
Okay. Thank
Answer
you.
your questions? You're welcome.
I'm not sure that I'm totally clear on it, but
Well, if you come up with additional questions, please call staff.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody
And
here
they'll-
at City Hall can speak to it.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that has public comment items? Nope. Then and we're still okay online? Okay. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Do I have governing body comment?
We've already done that. Yeah. Adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Record.